What's up? What's up? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Uncle Fred, and coming to you live again with another banger video. You hit that like and hit that subscribe button. We still provide you great content in the world of sports, particularly as it relates to the Dallas Cowboys and as it relates to the University of Alabama Crimson Tide and the NFL, and as well as other sports. Coming today kind of funny because University of Alabama lost today. Last second field goal to Texas A&M. That's a bummer. But that's not why we're here today. We're here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their upcoming matchup with the New York Football Giants on tomorrow, October the 10th, 2021. And so we're going to talk about that. It's a much anticipated game, and we're going to give you some points, some keys to the game, give you our prediction, and just give you an overall evaluation of what the game should consist of. So let's get this thing going. All right, tomorrow at AT&T Stadium at about, 3:25 Central Standard Time, the Dallas Cowboys will be taking on the New York Football Giants. Okay, and Cowboys are 3-1, coming off 3 wins in a row. The Giants are 1-3, coming off their very first win of the season on last Sunday. Against the New Orleans Saints. They overcome a 21-10 lead and came back and won that game late. And they won that game. Daniel Jones had 402 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. And I don't think he had any turnovers in that game either. So good game for the Giants. They won it. And so they're coming into AT&T fresh off that win. And so here we go. So here are the keys to the game. As we look forward to this game, hopefully a Cowboys win. Here are the keys to the game, according to Uncle Fred. Now, you could differ from me if you like, but, you would be wrong. But no, I'm kidding. But here's the keys to the game. The first key to the game is the emotional impact of the day. And what I mean by that is understand that it's been almost exactly a year almost to the day that Dak Prescott went down in the third quarter of the game against the Giants last year on a scramble out to the left side. He tried to cut it back inside, and he got caught, and his ankle kept going the same way, and we know he was out for the season. And that was a very tough day, October the 11th, 2020. And it was real touching to see even Jason Garrett come out and put his arms around Dak when he was sitting on that cart. Even though he's an offensive coordinator for the other team, but he coached Dak for all of his career up until that year. So I'm sure they share a good relationship. So there he was, and he got carted off the field. So here we are a year later, same place, same opponent. And now Dak is going to have to channel those emotions into productive play. And so he can't get caught up in the emotions of the day and what it all means. It's a year removed from the injury and that particular day and that particular team and that sort of thing. He's going to have to, keep his focus on the game at hand. So Dak's just going to continue to be Dak. Dak's been steady. Dak's been dependable. Dak's been consistent all year long. And how do I know that? Well, I'm looking at the statistics here. He's completed 75.2% of his passes for 1,066 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Okay, has not thrown an interception since game 2 at San Diego, at Los Angeles. Okay, so he's gone 2 straight games with no interception, and he's played a steady game, and he stayed on top of everything, stayed ahead of the down markers, made the check downs when available, and went deep when the opportunities presented themselves. Case in point, last week against the Carolina Panthers, when they choked up on our wide receivers, Amari Cooper double moved C.J. Henderson, and Dak pump fake, went deep, 35 yards, dropped it right in the bucket. But then early in the first quarter, when they had all their guys drop deep, he just dumped it off to Dalton Schultz for an 18-yard gain down to like the 20-yard line in the first quarter. So that's what I'm going to need Dak to do, to take what the defense is giving him. If they play off, check it off underneath. But in them events, when they put one-on-one coverage and they're playing them tight, they're playing that bump and run coverage, I'm going to need you to go up top and hit either Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb. Or you can hit that slot guy, that Cedric Wilson, who's playing pretty good right now. So the slot receiver position is in good hands until Michael Gallup comes back. Cedric Wilson's handling his business. He's got 2 touchdowns this year already. So good, it's good. So that's the one key for Dak, to keep the emotional situation of the game in check. I'm gonna need for him to. There we are. There's light. I'm going to need for him to manage the game, take what the defense gives him, not get too caught up, and just play football. Just be Dak Prescott. That's what I need Dak Prescott to do. I need Dak Prescott to be Dak Prescott. All right? That's what I need. Okay? 2, the defense must pay attention to Saquon Barkley. Okay? And I know Saquon has not done a whole lot when you look at on the surface this year, but Saquon Barkley is a dangerous back, and I hope that they're not overlooking him based on the fact that he hasn't had any breakout, runs this year. In fact, the most he's had this year is 57 yards rushing, okay, this year. And so they must not get caught up in not worrying about him, because Saquon Barkley can hurt you. Now, remember, it was September 20th last year, second game of the year against the Bears, when he tore his ACL, game 2 last year. So basically, it's a year and about 2 weeks, since 3 weeks or so since his injury. Now, athletes will tell you on an injury like that, it generally takes a year, 8 months, 10 months to a year to physically get over that, but it takes nearly a year and a half to mentally get over an injury like that. What does that mean? Well, it means that all of the ligaments and all the stuff inside the knee has healed, but then once you go to play, your mind has to tell you and give you confidence that when you plant, that the knee's going to do and hold up like it's supposed to. And many times it takes them an extra maybe 4 or 5 months or so to, start to feel like they were feeling before the injury. So now, reason for concerns, like I said, Saquon Barkley's had like some pedestrian numbers this season. Has no more than 57 yards in none of the 4 games that he's played. But if you watch the game last week, he had a 54-yard touchdown catch, which shows once he got out into space, he was able to separate and then pull away from guys for that big play. So that's the key. So in their defensive, game plan, they need not to forget about Saquon Barkley, because Saquon Barkley is only going to get better as the season progresses. You don't want to be the team that he figures it out on. So keep an eye on Saquon Barkley. Okay, number 3, it's really a 2-parter: O-line productivity and offensive creativity by Kellen Moore. Now, what I'm saying here is that that the Giants have heard about how dominant the Cowboys have been on the running the football. Ran it for 198 yards against the Chargers, ran it for 160 yards against the Eagles, and 245 yards against the Panthers on last week. So, those other teams, they get paid too. And that's one thing I always tell people. The other team gets paid also. All right. Those coaches get paid too. Those coaches watch film. Those coaches put game plans together. Those coaches look and chart tendencies that the other teams are doing. So they know, okay, well, and they're charting how the offensive line moves and their subtle movements and stuff like that. And they know that, well, we got to take that away from them. So I'm going to need our offensive line to play, up to par, knowing that the team that they're playing knows that they've had, success running the ball for 3 weeks in a row. All right. So, and in turn, that turns also into Kellen Moore. Now, up to this point, Kellen Moore has probably been one of the most impressive play callers that I've seen in the NFL this year. And I'm not just saying it because I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm saying it because we seem to adapt to what the defense is showing us, and Kellen Moore seems to attack whatever weaknesses those defenses have. Now, if they're starting to show us heavy boxes, I'm going to need for him to adjust the game plan accordingly, where Dak can get the ball out and get it out of his hands quick. And we got capable tight ends in Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin. We have capable tight ends, and both of them have touchdown passes this year. I think Dalton Schultz has about 3, and I think Blake Jarwin has, I think, 1. Okay, so they are capable to hit those seams when the linebackers blitz or when they bring pressure to compensate for the run. So I'm going to need Kellen Moore and Dak to be on the same page. Check out the running plays when they're stacking the box. And then when they're, in the empty boxes or the light boxes, for them to, let our running back, Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott, not necessarily in that order, Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard, I didn't say them in any particular order, but need to let them continue to do what they're doing. And right now, they're the second leading team in the NFL running the football, behind only the Cleveland Browns, okay? Running for 245 yards last week will move you up the charts in that regard. So yeah, I'm going to need Kellen Moore and the offensive line to work together, and knowing what the Giants have seen in the past couple of weeks, and knowing what they're telling their defensive personnel about, hey, we got to stop them from running. We got to shut that running game off. Knowing that they're going to try to shut off our running game, we got to come up with a counter plan to maximize their, what they're doing to us and counterbalance those things. So I'm going to need those to do that. Okay. Now, the defense. Yeah, our defense. Now, I know our defense has been playing well right now on the surface. Okay. Now, don't get mad at Uncle Fred. What did I tell you about the Cowboys? I'm going to be objective and optimistic. Okay. What I mean by objective means I'm going to tell you the truth as I see it. Okay. I'm not going to tell you we're going to the Super Bowl when we win 3 games in a row. I need to see more. Okay. I like how we're playing. I like, the progress we're making defensively. I love what we're doing offensively. Okay. But, it's a long season. A lot of teams will start off 3-0 and end up 6-10 or 7-9, or in this case, 7-10 and 6-11, whatever, because it's 17 games this year. So we need to stay the course and, pay attention to the things we need to pay attention to, and don't get caught up in the hype. Now, our defense, while we are leading or second in the NFL, and I think we're second to Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken, in turnovers. I think we created like 10 turnovers this year, and I think they may have created 11, okay, which is right there at top of the league. Trayvon Diggs is playing remarkably. He's got 5 picks. He's got more picks than 26 other teams, okay, by himself, all right? The truth of the matter is, man, the Cowboys have given up, I think, the second or third most big plays in the NFL this year, okay? So, whereas we're getting turnovers, okay, understand this, turnovers are like found money, okay? What does that mean? You're not going to find money every time you turn over a seat cushion, all right? So, true enough, we've been good and opportunistic enough to take advantage of these turnovers and stop scoring drives and things of that nature. But you would do better if you only had a handful of turnovers and you played good fundamental football, were good position football, good coverage in the pass coverage, and filling the gaps on running downs. Okay, those sorts of things, and limiting big plays where you can. Now, before you thinking I'm just blowharding and don't have stats, I'm gonna have stats to back up what I'm talking about. Uncle Fred not gonna just be telling you stuff just to be telling you stuff. I'm telling you stuff based on what I've seen, and I've done the research to back up what I am saying, which I would think any analyst, any talking head, any sports analyst would do. Don't just tell me something. Give me stats to back up what you're saying. Now, did you know that the Cowboys are the only team in the NFL that have given up 4 300-yard passers, which means we've given up a 300-yard passing game in all 4 games that we have played. Okay. First, game 1, Tom Brady, 379 yards and 4 touchdowns. Okay. Game 2, Justin Herbert, 338 yards and a touchdown. Also had 2 touchdowns that were called back. Okay, remember that. Jalen Hurts, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and one resulting in a pick 6. Okay, now I do realize that we was up 37-17, up 20, and some of those yards were garbage catch-up yards. What they call empty calorie yards that they was trying to hang Dak with last year and things of that nature. But some of those yards were that, but still, it was a 300-yard game, okay, that we gave up, all right? And then last week against Sam Darnold, 301 yards and 2 touchdowns, also 2 interceptions. Both of them was to that boy Diggs, okay? And there were big plays given up in that game. I remember like a 35 to 36-yard play by DJ Moore early in the game where, it was 3rd and something, and he caught it, spun around, caught that, reached down with one hand, steadied himself, and spun out and went down the sidelines for like 15, 20 more yards. And then late in the game, I remember the guy, I couldn't remember his name, but he caught on Anthony Brown, caught like a 54-yard catch. His only catch of the game. And you just can't give up big plays like that, okay? Because those are going to come back to bite you, okay? So what I'm hoping is our defense can continue to grow and get, more, mature and, to the defensive game. Understanding we do have a new defensive coordinator. He's running more of a 4-2-5 defensive alignment, a little bit different than what we played, but because we're getting turnovers and those a lot of the guys are buying into it, and I feel like they're going to get better. Now, some of this, and there's going to be some ambiguity because we just released Jalen Smith. Now, Jabril Cox, who basically had just played on special teams up to now, was going to get, but he's dazzled in the preseason, and they're really looking to get him on the field. Look to see him a lot in tomorrow's game and the rest of the season, as the rest of the defensive, linebackers and things of that nature, and that position group start to kind of move around. It's going to be led by Micah Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch, Keanu Neal, and of course Jabril Cox will get some of that also. So, but I look for we've got to limit the big plays, okay? Because when you're playing Arizona, I don't know, we're going to be playing them in 2, 3, 4 weeks, okay? And they got big play potential. A lot of the teams we've played already don't have big play potential, but we've given them big play potential, given them big plays. You play Arizona, you play the Rams, if you play Tampa again, if you play Green Bay, okay, yeah, you got to start limiting that. Because every team's not going to give you 3 turnovers. Okay, so these are the things I'm looking out for. So we've had 4 300-yard passers, and there have been big plays in every game that we've given up, and we've got to stop doing that in terms of if we plan on winning. And then lastly, I'm concerned about the coaching aspect in a couple of ways. All right. And I know we're just talking about keys to tomorrow's game, but I'm talking about also down the road. Um, I need Mike McCarthy just to manage the game and do the things that every other coach in the NFL does. What do I mean? If it's a minute and a half left in the half, and the other team's not moving the football, I need you to call a timeout, get the ball back, see if we can get another possession. Okay. Also, if a team is driving late in the game, okay, gotten in the field goal range, I need you to call timeouts. So when they kick their field goal, you got time to get the ball back. I'm cross-pollinating right here, but in the Knights game against Texas A&M, University of Alabama didn't do that. Nick Saban, that's on Nick Saban. Got in the field goal range, took the 2 timeouts home with him. I don't know what you were doing there. Okay, you can't do nothing with them. Take them timeouts, make them kick their ball with more than a second left. You could have let them, kick it with 30 seconds or so left, and So I'm gonna need Mike McCarthy to do those types of things, and I'm gonna need you to challenge the things that are obvious and need to be challenged, because you need to be paying attention to the game. You're not calling plays, you're not calling the defense. Okay, you're overseeing. So I need you to oversee. All right. Game last year against the Giants at the end of the season, an obvious no catch. He didn't think to cut. He was looking up kept looking at the thing. Now I don't know what kind of people they have in his ear telling them challenge, but he didn't challenge, and that play never got challenged, and it stood. Okay, and then this year's game against the I think it was against the Carolina Panthers. He challenged something that didn't and shouldn't have been challenged. It was a stupid challenge, and you wasted the timeout. And it was a late challenge. We already come back from the 2-minute warning. Now he decides he wants to challenge something, and I think somebody had gotten enough for the first down, and it was pretty obvious that he had gotten it. But he said maybe that they didn't, but it was obvious that he had gotten it. So in short, I just need Mike McCarthy to coach the football team and not just be a glorified clipboard holder. Coach the football teams. Do the things you've done before. You've won a Super Bowl, for crying out loud, okay? Be a coach. Stop being a game manager. Stop being a team manager, okay? Coach the football team, okay? Now, some things I want to point out. Something I heard on one of my YouTube channels that I listen to, and things like that, because I listen to other YouTube channels too. That's where I get some of my information. Sometimes I get their information and I listen to them and like their stuff and whatnot, and I'll go to statistics and check stuff out and things of that nature. I mean, that's what we all in this thing together. But I found out that the Cowboys have a very interesting thing going on. Whereas they got Ezekiel Elliott is I think 3rd or 4th in the league rushing. He's got 342 yards, which is an average of 85.5 yards a game. Which would be equal to what he got his second year in the league, which ended up having about 1,400. Would have been 1,400 yards, but he got suspended for 6 games. Okay, and Tony Pollard has 250 yards, which is an average of 67 yards a game, and his average, if you multiply it out to 17 games, he would have over 1,000 yards. So we had an opportunity, and we know they're probably not going to keep it up at the same pace all year long because teams make adjustments. But man, that's pretty good. You'd have 2 backs with 1,000 yards. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Cowboys had 2 backs had 1,000 yards. Okay, but that would be interesting, and they're good for them. I think Zeke's averaging about 6 yards a carry, and I think 5.5 yards a carry, and I think Tony Pollard's averaging about 6 yards a carry. But we also, I know things aren't going to hold up this way as well, but also with but Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, with the yardage that they have, if you average them out, they would have 1,000 yards apiece. Okay, Amari Cooper would have 1,100 and some odd yards, and I think I keep wanting to say Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb would have right at around 1,000. So man, wouldn't that be something that we could have a 4,000-yard passer, 2,000-yard receivers, and 2,000-yard running backs? That's just something just to put into your thought process and just kind of watch. I mean, it's, for your fantasy folks, if y'all get into that, I really don't, but I just like to see, the numbers and stuff like that. And but yeah, I mean, they're doing good. And Dak's got 1,066 yards in 4 games, and you multiply that over 17, you got over 4,000 yards, and you have like 40 touchdowns and like 7 or 8 interceptions. Okay, that sounds like MVP stuff. But we know all the numbers will go up and down throughout the year, but it is nice to kind of play with the numbers like that. So having put all of these things into our vat and stirring it up, all the keys to the game, Dak keeping his emotions in check and the significance of the game and looking at the offensive creativity and the offensive line with Kellen Moore and looking at the defense, being able to watch Saquon Barkley and the defense, maintaining its, trying to keep, the big plays to a minimum and try to keep Danny Dimes under 300 yards. Okay. Putting all that in the vat, stirring it up. Okay. And I couple that with how well our offense. You realize, aside from the Eagles, I think we had 380 yards, but we realized we had 400 yards in every game this year on offense. Okay. So the offense, only punting about 3 times a game. Offense is doing its thing. Okay. So with all that being said, Cowboys coming in the game on a 3-game winning streak. Giants coming in on a 1-game winning streak. Okay. I've given you all the keys to the game and the things to watch for and giving you stats out the wazoo. Okay. So right now, you guess you want to know what's Uncle Fred's projection or prediction. Cowboys 34, Giants 17. Writing it down. 34, Giants 17. Let's go, Cowboys. Let's get this thing done. Get this dub. Get this 4-game winning streak. Head up to Foxborough with a 4-game winning streak, and let's see what we're doing. Now, on the injury note, right before we close out, some injuries I want to make note of. Ezekiel Elliott is cleared to play, obviously. But we do know, and I reported earlier in the week, that he had a sore knee sustained in the Carolina game. Kind of took it easy on him in practice, treated it. He will play. Mari Cooper will have some hamstring tightness. And they were treating it during the week. He was light in practice, but he will play. The New York Giants, wide receiver Sterling Shepard, wide receiver Darius Slayton, both are out. So the wide receiver duties will be held by Kenny Golladay, who they picked up from Detroit, and John Ross, who they picked up from Cincinnati. John Ross can run now. John Ross got 4.27 speed. Okay. That's not, so they need not to forget about him as well. So these are the things. So keep that in thing. But that don't change nothing from Uncle Fred. Cowboys 34, Giants 17. Let's get this thing done and let's get this dub. Okay. And so that's what we're saying. That's our last thing for today. And of course, on tomorrow evening, we'll come to you with another video, and we'll detail what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like. Hopefully, it'll be after a Cowboys win, because that's what we're rolling with. Rolling with the Cowboys. All right. So until tomorrow, Uncle Fred, peace out.